One of our designers worked for the art studio that was doing some of the original Boba Fett design thing and came up with the heads-up display that went with that. So this device actually has connection back to a galaxy far, far away a long time ago.
Really?
It's kind of cool that element is in there. This is actually the 8th generation of this type of wearable computers. Dr. Parkinson, who's one of our founders and CTO, started working on this more than a decade ago and has gone through this whole evolution of what are the right ergonomics? How do you put it on your head? What's the right viewing angle? How do you do it voice control? Because the key of our technology is hands-free voice control. There's a lot of things with microphone placement, sound control, sound reduction. We launched the HMT-1, which was the head-mounted tablet 1. Afterward, we came out with the HMT-1Z1, which is the world's first wearable, intrinsically safe computer. So this one actually could go into explosive atmospheres, like think oil and gas, think chemical plants and stuff like that. They were our first launch product. So you think, how did a company that's just starting, how do we take this technology and make a startup a global company? Because we knew we were going to be selling to industrial global customers. So we launched this product certified in 50 countries from the beginning, on day one of launch. That's really unusual to have that level of sophistication, testing, going out and doing that. And then what we did is we developed this market. No one was getting up in the morning in 2016, 2017 saying, I wish I had a wearable voice control computer. We began to build awareness around this concept of wearable computing and start building the assisted reality market. And we say assisted reality because you're familiar with sort of the virtual reality, kind of put it in there. So there's this whole spectrum that we call the XR spectrum, extended realities. Virtual reality, it's all digital, right? You're immersed in it. As far as you know, this is the whole metaverse kind of thing where it's like you're trying to drive your awareness, your thinking, your visual input, even maybe audio and 3D audio and maybe even vests and gloves and things that make you feel like you're part of that environment. That's the XR spectrum. As you go down that spectrum, you get mixed reality and think things like HoloLens, where you're putting large, complex images inside what is reality, right? So you're mixing that, what's real, what's digital. That is very high cognitive load on people. Fighter pilots have been doing this for years. They've got an Air Force background. They don't live with this stuff Iron Man-wise all the time they're flying. It's too distracting. It's too high a cognitive load. You bring it when you need it, and then you use that. I want to have visual reference. I'm reality first. I don't want to run into anything. I don't want to fly into a mountain. What this device really simulates in assisted reality, it gives you that information in context when you need it, right? Without getting into your peripheral vision. Your reality first, digital second, assisted reality. That becomes the concept here. You see this mounted on a hard hat. So industrial is our focal point, and when you wear it on a hard hat, it's a very natural thing because the weight is very well distributed. You hardly notice it's here. You can actually flip this completely out of your way. And so you can still operate this voice only without having, if you know the program well enough that you're working with, or you're already in a remote session and you're just using voice instead of, someone else might be watching your video stream, but you're...
So that's a video stream back to...
Right. This is an HMT, we call it a head-mounted tablet. What this is practically, from an electronics point of view, is a tablet computer, so think an iPad or a Samsung, Galaxy. You've taken the battery on one side here, you've taken all the electronics, the camera, the microphone, the display, and separated it up in this way so that when it's operating together, we took all of the touch and gesture, so the pinch, the touch, all of that you would do with your hands is replaced in our Wear HF system with voice command. That's the magic, because now I can do what I'm doing. I'm not interfered with what I'm looking at. And so imagine if you're trying to repair something and you've got one of these immersive systems in there. Well, if the instructions are floating here in space and I'm trying to work here with my hands, I'm looking through what I'm trying to work at. It doesn't, or I have to move it to some other place, so it's like I'll freeze the frame over here, and now I'm doing one of these things, right? Versus here, it's in context, I'm looking, working, all around. So I'm very focused on the reality of what I'm doing. So safety, productivity, a big part of what we do. We became the market leader in this space, learned a lot from listening to our customers, our customer advisory board. And so when we launched Navigator 500, we took all of that feedback and said, how do we make this even better? What you're seeing in this device is now the 8th generation of it, super lightweight, so it's now down 100 grams less, so 30% less than the first one, but just as rugged. One of the things was being able to create an easy exchange battery. It's hot swappable. You don't even interrupt. You could be in the middle of a Zoom call or a Microsoft Teams call and your battery's getting low. You can pop that up, pop in another one, you don't lose anything because there's still enough battery life on the unit itself to keep doing it. So very hot swappable. What we've done is we made this modular so that you can, once you purchase this unit, say if the camera technology changes, you can upgrade the camera. This is a 48 megapixel, ultra low light camera sensor. The next module coming downstream is going to be a fused thermal imaging and visual. So now someone can just buy that as an accessory and install it themselves, and they can now use it in infrared mode. You could operate and say, I don't want the display at all. Take it off, put a camera cover on it, just snap it down, and now you're operating with that camera. The general use that people have is what you think of as this remote expert. So we've all done FaceTime, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx. The difference here, the camera isn't looking at me like it is when you're holding your flat piece of glass towards you. It's outward looking. It's looking where I'm looking. Right? So it's a see what I see phenomena. I can now have a virtual presence and help someone through as a remote expert 3,000 miles away. So how does that work in practice? We talk about friction. When things have friction, it destroys value. Right? Think of anything that's frustrating to use, right? But when you remove that friction, you create value. And so that's what we try to do here is to make it seamless and natural to interact with. When it makes me more effective, you embrace it. But now think you're in that inspection, you say, I don't think that's right. You're doing the document as built. Now let's pull up the drawing.
Zoom level 2.
Bingo. And again, you see where you are in the upper screen where your little purple thing is. You see where you are in the diagram. So now you could have a diagram as big as this room, and you can find what you're looking for, zoom in, freeze it, and go do your work. Some of the biggest companies in the world, Microsoft, Cisco, Zoom, all have applications that run on this. And Microsoft application actually looks better on this device than on any other Android device because we've worked with them to get the display up to 740p over the 480 that normally streams at for other Android devices. All right, that's, that's a little bit of the technology.
How much is one of these?
So list price today about $2,400. You can go on our site and buy it there. In volume, some of that comes down, obviously. We sell through a distributor network, so it's a two-tier distribution, so distributors and resellers. And so the reason we do that is for scale. We're a small company. We're 120 people. You need to be
these
big corporations, they might have 20 locations, and each one, in 6 different countries. And so you would just ask them, how do you buy your computer equipment? They say, oh, we use CDW. Oh, we use NTT. They're our distributor. Just call up and they'll support you. Just like we can hook you up with a system integrator if you want to have that experience. So it makes us very scalable of how they can get to what they want. So anyway, that's a little bit about the technology.
Are you okay being on video, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay. So what'd you guys think?
I thought it was great, man. Andrew is like I was telling Dan, like the guy's history is. It's almost like he's an encyclopedia in some parts too. It's just what he's gone. I mean,
but the way he said this consistently too, like the human-centered technology company. I think it's interesting.
Like that between like the metaverse and everything else, and I'm like not even close to understanding anything in the metaverse or even Bitcoin or NFTs. Well,
if he can show you how to use it,
I know, but that was it's true because I'm a freaking dinosaur. But like. I mean, just and having it on, like having the actual camera on, like I think that's where I was like, we can use this. It's not just for like industrial frontline workers, oil and gas. That like we at Cressa can use that for a lot of use cases. So I don't know. He was unbelievable. I'm just thankful that he was cool to come on, man, and spend so much time with us. It was great.